right, everybody. Welcome to the Block Shop Open 2019 edition. Pete Woods here avec Phil Lantier. Phil Lantier, third time we've done the Block Shop Open. This comp is really growing. You can tell by the fact that finals tickets sold out in 10 minutes. You can see by the heavy hitters that are on the start list. I think we're in for a really good show.
I think we're in for a treat, Pete, because as you mentioned, you know, the Block Shop team, they just keep pulling out all the stops, you know, inviting, you know, route setters that are, you know, key on the World Cup scene, that we're getting athletes that are stronger, and people that want to, you know, get this title belt, because if you haven't seen them, that's what's for grabs here this weekend.
As well as $3,000 for first place, $2,000 for second place, and $1,000 for first place. So in order to put on a comp with $12,000 in prize money, international route setters, international athletes, a live stream of this quality, this is what you get. So we got the partners in this event, the North Face, Dimension Volumes, Scarpa, and Red Bull have all put in an amount equal to, I believe, $5,000 in either promotional materials, time, effort, and then straight up cash money in order to get the purse up to a level in which people want to travel and compete for it. And that's, it's relatively rare in North America to have unsanctioned big money comps. The Block Shop now has done it. This is the third year in a row, and it is a formula that is working.
Yeah, absolutely. Et on aimerait vraiment remercier tout le monde qui se joint pour, en fait, cette retransmission en ligne sur YouTube. On va faire ça en anglais et un peu en français. Bienvenue à Montréal, tout le monde. C'est ça, où est-ce que Block Shop est établi. On a 2 gyms ici. Block Shop, c'est les gyms dans lesquels je grimpe. Puis on est heureux de pouvoir accueillir, en fait, les meilleurs talents dans le Nord-Est, mais également les meilleurs compétiteurs qu'on voit sur la scène de la Coupe du Monde.
Oui, puis la qualité en bloc, la qualité en les ouvreurs, la qualité en le niveau le plus haut pour une compétition en Canada ou même en Amérique du Nord.
Absolument. On a vu des grimpeurs qui ont participé au Adidas Rockstars la semaine passée. Alors, des grimpeurs aussi établis et qui ont leur laissez-passer pour Tokyo 2020. So, Olympic qualified athletes that are, you know, amongst those that will compete tonight.
Yeah.
Some big names. So, I think, Pete, it's just going to be a lot of fun.
And they know what they're getting into. So they know they come to this comp now, the 30 we've had it. They know that the level is high enough that they're going to get tested early on in their season and be like, what is, these are World Cup level boulders. And this is something that you need to keep training on, is boulders that are hard enough for you to work really hard and competitors that are going to push you. And we had a good look at the routes. You spoke to the chief route setter a little bit earlier.
That's right. I spoke with Romain Cabessu, who is an established route setter on the World Cup scene. And there's, you know, he had a couple of words to say about what we're doing here. So
let's have a look.
Bonjour tout le monde. J'ai la chance de m'asseoir avec Romain Cabessu, qui est en fait l'ouvreur en chef invité ici pour le Block Shop Open 2019. Alors, bonjour Romain, bienvenue.
Bonjour. Merci.
Rapidement, Romain, dis-nous, c'est comment l'expérience d'ouvrir dans une compétition comme celle-ci? C'est peut-être différent de ton quotidien, plus sur le circuit de la Coupe du Monde?
Disons que les demi-finales et les finales, on les ouvre à peu près de la même façon qu'on ouvre en Coupe du Monde, c'est-à-dire que c'est à peu près le même niveau de bloc, même niveau d'exigence. Ensuite, l'ambiance est peut-être un petit peu plus décontractée, plus conviviale ici, mais on est toujours sur le même degré d'exigence, on va dire.
Parfait. Et parlons justement de ces exigences-là. Romain, c'est quoi les thématiques que vous abordez dans la gestuelle ou dans ce que vous avez mis devant les grimpeurs ici aujourd'hui?
Alors là, sur le circuit de demi-finale, on est sur des blocs qui sont très typés dans les styles, qui sont vraiment typés dans des qualités physiques, dans des qualités d'équilibre, dans des qualités de coordination. Et chaque bloc est très spécifique. Et ce qui est peut-être un peu différent des blocs de finale où on joue un peu plus sur le spectacle aussi. Et donc, il faut être très complet, très polyvalent pour pouvoir réaliser les 4 blocs.
Super. Et est-ce que c'est vrai, selon toi, que dans le fond, dans les demi-finales, on assiste souvent à des blocs un peu plus difficiles?
Souvent, le niveau dans les demi est très relevé. Des fois, on peut passer en finale avec un seul bloc. Ça dépend de l'intention et le ton qu'on donne au circuit de demi. Aujourd'hui, je pense qu'on a un tour qui est quand même un peu accessible, qui est peut-être un petit peu en dessous de l'intensité qu'on peut mettre en Coupe du Monde. Mais je pense que ça va jouer dans tous les blocs.
Parfait. Et en fait, c'est quoi tu vois comme le sport s'est beaucoup développé dans les dernières années. On voit aussi qu'on est dans une année charnière. Il y a déjà eu les championnats du monde au Japon il y a quelques semaines à peine. Qu'est-ce que tu vois dans le futur rapproché en termes justement d'ouverture de bloc, là, précisément?
Bah, ce qui rentre en jeu aujourd'hui, c'est surtout le combiné, voilà, qui prend sa place sur le format olympique. Pour nous, je pense que c'est une approche un peu différente, peut-être dans le niveau, puisqu'ils enchaînent les 3 disciplines à la suite. Ensuite, sur l'ouverture en Coupe du Monde classique, je pense que les grimpeurs sont de plus en plus forts et ils sont plus nombreux à être plus forts. Du coup, à nous d'essayer de proposer des choses un peu nouvelles. Et voilà, je pense que ça va être ça le nouveau challenge.
Super. Et comment est-ce qu'un ouvreur comme toi, Romain, de ta trempe, de ton calibre, parvient à se perfectionner et où est-ce que tu cherches ton inspiration pour créer des nouveaux blocs et des nouveaux parcours?
Je pense qu'en tant qu'ouvreur, on s'inspire tous de ce qui se fait au fur et à mesure de la saison sur les autres étapes sur lesquelles on n'est pas forcément ouvreur. Et on essaye de prendre le maximum d'informations sur ce qui se fait dans tous les pays, dans tous les styles d'ouverture, tout ce que tous les ouvreurs proposent, pour essayer d'être le plus complet possible et d'essayer d'apporter de nouvelles choses.
Parfait. Puis peut-être en terminant, Romain, parce que je sais que tu as du travail à faire dans les prochaines minutes, dis-moi, est-ce que tu vas en profiter pour aller grimper dehors ici? Est-ce que tu aimes grimper en falaise?
Ouais, alors là, j'aurais pas forcément le temps de rester pour aller grimper dehors ici. J'ai pu profiter des secteurs de bloc de Val-David il y a 4 ans parce que j'étais déjà venu ici. Ensuite, ouais, je suis plus grimpeur de falaise parce que j'habite proche des falaises.
D'accord.
Mais j'aime aussi le bloc, bien sûr, j'adore aussi le bloc.
Super, mais en tout cas, merci. On a bien hâte de voir les athlètes à l'œuvre sur, dans le fond, ce que vous avez préparé. Puis, on vous souhaite une bonne chance. Être ouvreur, c'est aussi une source de stress dans la compétition. Là, fait que,
ouais.
Super. Ben, merci, Romain.
Merci. Merci.
Okay, so a good insight into some of the mindset behind route setting, the style of the boulders, what route setters are trying to do, and you're going to get that on full display for the next couple of hours. If you are not familiar, the format for the semifinals is 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off. So the climbers come out one at a time. They try the first boulder. They have 5 minutes on the clock. At that 5 minutes, when the zeros hit, you're off the wall no matter where you are. There is no overrun. Then you're in a chair for 5 minutes, resting, trying to recover that energy that you expended. And then you're back on the next boulder. So 4 boulders in a row, 5 minutes to climb, 5 minutes to rest. The sum of the efforts of the boulders across 1 to 4 is 100% taken into account by the route setters. The order in which you see the types of climbing, the style of climbing across the board is not by accident.
No, and actually one thing that Romain was telling us in French was that, as usual, semifinal rounds are usually the hardest. It's the biggest test. What we want is to take the field of 20 competitors, spread them out, and have really the top 6 that are going to make the finals here.
Yeah, you really got to hit these guys and these women with full effort boulders. The qualifiers, almost all of the usual suspects topped all 8, and most of them flashed 7 or 8 of those. So the qualifiers need to get 20 climbers in, and you can't get in with 0 tops and 0 bonuses. So you need to have that spread a little bit deeper, especially at a local level. The climbers that live here, live in Ontario, they're coming to test themselves. They got to have something to climb on. And then you get the semifinals and you get punched in the teeth. And then the route setters learn something. So they take what they've learned from the semifinal, and then do they tweak their finals problems or do they let them lie?
Right, and there's a day that goes on before, finals come. And basically, you've got a lot of different boulders, a lot of variety. And we're having our first climbers come out. So in about 5 minutes, we'll be seeing the first competitors out on boulders number 1.
Even in the competition world, climbing is such a creative sport. You look at what some of the setters create, and it's beautiful. I mean, it looks like a canvas. They strip the wall, it's this blank canvas, and then they come up with this magic and these patterns and designs, especially with the holds that are being created nowadays, these beautiful colored volumes.
Okay, so we got about 4 minutes. The first climbers are sitting in their chair. They come out of isolation. They sit for 5 minutes thinking about the task that they're about to undertake. They come out in reverse order from how they qualified. So the 20th place climbers come out first, and the top climbers come out at the end. So understanding that there's a spread in the field, you are going to see some real work and not a lot of success necessarily at the very beginning of the field, which is nothing to say negatively against those climbers. It's just that these boulders are set for international athletes right now, and this is a forum in which they get to come out and say, how good do I need to be if I want to be the person that's making, semifinals, finals at a competition of this level?
You're absolutely right, Pete. This is a unique opportunity for these climbers to really see where they fit with regards to some of the top athletes that are going to come out here, like last year's winners, Mika Mawem and Kyra Kondi. But we got Mio Nanaka, Petra Klingler. We've got Yoshiyuki Ogata, who won Adidas Rockstars just last week, 7 days ago.
And for the first time at the Block Shop Open, Sean McCall.
That's right. Sean McCall, I think, took notice of Mika's domination.
Yep.
Mika's won the first two titles here at the Block Shop Open. And McCall, who's no stranger to success here in Montreal, will want to take that championship belt back home in Vancouver.
Yeah, the schedule's lined up for him this year, and Sean McCall is Canada's greatest climbing export, and I'm sure he's really psyched to climb at a comp of this level in his home country.
And I think we're all psyched to see him because he's such a tremendous ambassador for the sport in Canada, also on the international stage. And so the fact that he's punched his ticket also for Tokyo is huge for Canadian climbing. And I think his presence here is going to really just make sure the Block Shop Open is that much better than it was in the past.
Exactly. The home crowd likes a Canadian climber who's in the running for a podium. As much fun as it is to watch climbers of this level try and get on a podium, people always want to see a maple leaf in the mix. And with Sean McCall and Jason Hollowatch to some degree in this field, Seb Lazure, these are some climbers to keep an eye on when we get into this semifinal round. The women's field, a lot of successful youth climbers who are just transitioning at the tail end of their youth, sort of youth A junior season, who've been climbing very well. If you watched Open Bouldering Nationals, it was dominated by youth climbers this year.
That's
so
right.
The younger climbers in Canada, as we see at international competitions, are the ones who are starting to make a difference. So 18, 19, 20, 21, people are winning World Cups.
Right. And, that's a great thing about a semifinal round too, Pete, is because, we've got stronger athletes that are in the Block Shop Open this year. So we already have a good idea of what the top six on the women's and on the men's side could be. It'll be really a battle for those 5th and 6th spots, unless anything bad happens to the top competitors, which we obviously don't want to see. But at the same time, you're going to have in the semifinal round a lot of competitors that are up-and-comers, that will be learning, and that we'll be seeing in a lot of our Canadian comps for sure, but international comps in the future as well.
And a top 10 finish at the Block Shop Open is not a finals appearance, but it is an excellent finish.
That's right.
So we got about, we're 10 seconds away from our first climbers. We're going to get Dylan Bokenfour, and we're going to get May Nagasako, who are going to come out, and they are going to throw down and show us what the first boulders look like. Here we go. Block Shop Open 2019, on y va. On voit ici le bloc numéro 1 pour les filles. C'est comme le bloc numéro 1 à droite pour les hommes. C'est dur, en tout cas, right out of the gate.
Oui, absolument, Pete. Du côté des femmes, c'est certainement un bloc tout en volume. Plusieurs angles sont possibles. On a même pensé à pouvoir résoudre une partie de ce bloc-là en faisant face à l'extérieur, en faisant face à la foule. On va voir ce que Mei Nagasako va décider de privilégier comme séquence. Puis du côté des hommes, ben, c'est un bloc qui peut être déversant, qui est très, très exigeant dès le début.
And Mei, who is a Japanese import into Ontario, has been living in Ontario for a few years now, has put in some finishes on in Canadian comps over the last couple of years. Gotta get sorted. There's when you have volume boulders like this, when holds, like hand size holds, are really good at telling you what to do and how to do it. Volume holds are really good at telling you that you need to be in this general area with either of your hands and maybe both of your feet.
That's right, and Dr. Stepp, who's the house MC here, letting the crowd know that they should get behind May, who's shown quite a bit of flexibility here on boulder number 1.
Yeah, that's a big advantage on a boulder of this style, is if you can get into the splits or, you know, kind of get your weight balanced maybe a little bit wider than someone else, you're going to be sitting in a pretty happy spot. Dylan, on the other hand, is really a bit stumped by the beginning, and we went and looked at these up close, and the start of this boulder is no joke, just to get established.
Yeah, the right hand he's got for the starting hold is virtual. It's really a very rounded crimp, and basically he's really got to press up onto that left shoulder on that volume hold to start with.
And what you're seeing here from May is that the finish hold, the angles, of course, online are always tough to see. The wall overhangs, and it's an upside down triangle here, so there's some friction, but the hold, as you see, is not good enough for her to just pinch and then match. So she's got to get taller in her feet and up in her hips so that it's mostly a hands-free finish. This is a foot finish for sure. You see the feet there. The problem with getting tall on volumes, as soon as you go on your tiptoes, you reduce that area of friction, and it feels so insecure. You want to drop your heels for the friction, but you need to stand tall to finish the hold. So this is a devilish little finish that maybe looks like once you've got the zone, you should be able to finish the boulder. But you're seeing here from May that we're now looking at 2 full minutes of effort just to get finished on this boulder.
Yeah, and it's funny how close the zone and the top hold are actually from one to another, but that relative distance can actually feel really far when you're in May's situation right now. So hopefully May will find a solution with 1 minute 30 seconds to go.
And I think it's got to come down. I mean, it definitely has to come down to the feet. I think she's got to get that left foot.
And so, as you mentioned, Pete, she's really not comfortable with matching on just latching that hold as you would a sloper, because the angle really is not that good. And the thinking might be that she might have to stem up higher on one of these volumes.
I can't remember that left foot. She sort of bumped it up a little bit once and then didn't really like that friction, but that has to be the solution. And maybe a slightly taller climber here is going to come out on head, but oh my goodness. May with a fingertip match.
And Dr.
Maybe just
Stepp,
committed.
He was happy. That was the first top he could get behind here at Block Shop. So if you guys are nearby, you need to drop in here for these semifinals. Tomorrow, you would have needed a ticket because it's sold out, right, Pete? Really?
Less than 10 minutes.
It's crazy.
So tomorrow, if you live in Montreal, that doesn't mean you can't get on the live stream. The live stream is not just for people who don't live here. There's a limited capacity in the gym. A couple hundred people get in, and after that, you got to get yourself online and hang out with me and Phil tomorrow for the finals as well.
It's bigger than hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip hop. One thing about music, when it hits, you feel no pain. White folks that controls your brain. I know better than that. That's game, man. We ready for that. 2 soldiers head of the pack. Matter of fact, who got the gat and where my army at? Rather attack and not react. It's bigger than hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip. It's bigger than hip hop, hip hop.
Alors, du côté des femmes, sur le bloc numéro 1, on a Aspen Hendry qui grimpe à Boisbriand au Crux, qui est une jeune grimpeuse qui est assez présente sur la scène locale ici.
Et pour les hommes, on a Kai Watton, qui peut-être va faire un peu plus de succès sur le numéro 1, de juste établir sur les prises de commencement.
Wait, and it's interesting. Kai looking for a double Gaston beginning, actually questioning himself. Dylan tried this sequence also, so it's not said that because it's a big volume with a jib on it that it's a handhold starting,
Yeah.
So, but the judge came in and
Yeah, the hold itself now, if the hold itself is taped, you must use that hold. as part of the volume, and if the volume is taped, you can use the volume or the hold as you as you choose. So
And
he's got to get a toe hook for that to be in a proper start, and
That's right.
significantly harder than just getting that left foot up tall.
And that's right. Taping is so crucial, and it's all part of the intricacies of route setting here.
Yeah, and sort of as you said on women's boulder number 1, you see the zone hold is the bonus hold is 1 hold from the finish, and in shorter boulders, the struggle of where to put the zone is a real thing. In a longer boulder, it's really easy to give somebody progress points, but when it's near the end, you have to have done something to earn the zone hold, and then you should have to do something to earn the finish. Sometimes you are going to see zone holds very close to the beginning because maybe the start is very hard, or there's just there's not enough holds. You'll see when we get to the slab, again, there's 1 hold between the start holds and the zone hold because the nature of slab climbing, not a lot of holds. So you'll see a little bit of everything for sure, and it's up to the route setters to try and test the movement, test the climbers, and at the same time reward them appropriately to avoid a bottleneck worth of ties, etc., etc. And you see really good from Aspen Hendry here, getting established but unable to move out. And you got a good look at the jib that May didn't want to leave for her left foot to finish the boulder. And that's a good route setting trick is, hey, here's a sloping volume that you probably should use higher up, but we're going to give you a jib that makes you feel comfortable. And man, you don't want to leave a jib when you're standing on holds like that.
Yeah, and we just seen Aspen taking her own left foot and placing it on the hold. We saw a bit of that in the qualifiers. As we saw May earlier on this boulder, you need that hip flexibility to get that foot up. And I think that fall actually surprised Aspen. She's still got some time though.
Yeah, this that wall overhangs gently in a closed book kind of angle. So it's the left side of the boulder. You see where that crease runs, tips down and to the right, and the right side of the boulder actually tips back towards you just a little bit. So this is not a one flat angle, and it lends itself to that V-shaped opposition. But at the same time, the angles when you're pushing down and away and the wall is leaving you, you have to be able to play the angles of the wall. You have to be able to play the angles of the hold. If you get all that right, you get a top.
Absolutely. And meanwhile, on boulder number 1 for the men, Kai Watton, he's tried maybe 4 different sequences to get this started, and he's got 1 minute to go. He will have to make a choice here, and he's a strong local climber climbing out of Valley Up. Let's see what he can do.
Go, holds the barn door this time. So what he wasn't able to do on his first 4 or 5 tries gets him into the zone. So that's a good effort.
Yeah, and he's established his left hand on a jib that's on the zone hold.
And then just trying to make that transition, that drop through. Well, good efforts from both of those climbers. Right out of the gate, you're nervous. You're coming out of ISO. You know you're going to get hard boulders, but it's never as real as when you first touch the first hold. So all of these are on site, of course. They've had no prior view of these boulders, so you're every time you turn around, it's a whole new experience. So we're going to welcome back Dylan Bokenfour and May as they get a look at boulder number 2, and we're bringing out Charlie Osborne and Alexandra Kusela on boulder number 1.
Yeah, and so boulder number 2, I think what we've heard from the route setters is that it's definitely one of the stronger physical challenges for the men. Same thing for the ladies, that actually, you know, you've got different volumes, dimension hold volumes that are really stuffed into that big roof, and it's quite a bit of route reading that's necessary.
Ooh, a good bit of strength here from Dylan. We thought that move was going to be quite shoulder powerful, and I mean, I'm sure it is, but that's a good piece of climbing to get into the zone from Dylan.
Yeah, good work from Dylan to get to the zone on a first attempt here, and that's good. That is what you need to do, get to zones, in small attempts or little attempts.
As few as possible.
That's right.
What you're definitely not going to see on women's number 2, and we'll talk about it when we get back to it, there's a couple of gray, no shadow, so very, very low angle, slopey crimps screwed onto just a couple of spots on those triangles in the roof on women's number 2. Enough to help you, but not really enough to really grab and pull against.
So we see Alexandra here contemplating that split move that we've seen Aspen and May deal with. So
it's a question of flexibility and mobility here. You know, can you get your own hip up that high without having to do a grab?
Yeah, Charlie trying to press up on that volume to the left to get up to the zone hold or the hold next to it.
Another good look at that campus move. That's got to sap a lot of energy. That zone hold is, you know, it's a pretty round, sloping Gaston there. You get a good look at the inside. That's, you are just pawing at it. Once you're underneath it, it turns into a sloper.
Absolutely, and once you get to the zone hole on men's number 2, what we see Dylan's one of the taller climbers that we have out here, and you know, to get to that big sloper out right, the right foot that you've got is actually really high up. So you have to do a big move starting from a double undercling, reach out right, but all the while your foot is really high up. So that is another way in which root setters can add, you know, a bit of difficulty and just get things funky. Because you need to keep your hips low if you're to connect onto that big sloper.
That, and as you leave that zone hold, the farther you go to the right, I mean, it goes from bad to worse to nearly impossible. It's now just like, it's a little bit of hope, but you are not grabbing the zone hold while you're going to the hold past it. You are just using it to hopefully cold that barn door in.
That's a great point, Pete. It gets really bad, and you need some really good you know, opposition strength to be able to keep pressing out left to make sure you're established out right. So that's the name of the game, folks.
So where May's right hand is now is on a triangle under a triangle, and there is a small crimp under there. On her left side, there are none. So that's just volume grabbing.
And we just saw May peel off out of the roof with a minute to go on this round. And it seems like once she throws out right, she has a bit of a hard time perhaps getting some opposition with that left foot, either a heel or a toe in one of those volumes that would help her from, you know, obviously peeling out. So
it almost looks like she's trying to use that swing to just turn around and paste the right foot on. With the coordination to look behind you and try and, you know, stab a relatively good but not great foothold. I think you're right that a toe hook or a heel hook somewhere in that nest of triangles is going to be a pretty big key to getting out of this boulder. And then you're just getting sapped. It's a powerful boulder.
Yeah, and Alex here needs to get to that zone hold. 20 seconds to go. This would be huge for her.
And she's not going to get there. And you're going to see Charlie here.
Last ditch attempt to get to the zone.
Just trying to stick this zone, and it's going to run out of gas and time.
So we are welcoming Blaise Jaffré on the men's side and Sydney Park.
Sydney Park, a good young climber, won her age category at Youth Boulder Nationals this year, so she's been a good, strong climber for a number of years and is starting to hang out with the big kids, as we say. And then, overall, the age of successful international and local athletes is getting younger. We are seeing a lot of young, talented climbers, people in their 20s winning World Cups. And that is an inevitable shift in sport where if you start younger and train right, when you get into the level of international competition, now you're not approaching 30. By the time you've got the experience, and the strength and the training, you're in your early 20s. So the junior athletes are putting down really, really, really good results in open level competition, and now you just have to consider that they're just younger open competitors. They're no longer youth athletes. As you see, pretty quick work here to the zone.
Et on
From
voit
Blaise.
Blaise Jaffré qui est un ouvreur basé à Paris pour les gyms Arcos. Alors, pour ceux qui suivent un peu ce qui se passe en France, Arcos ouvre une nouvelle salle de bloc, je dirais quasi mensuellement. Mais blague à part, un jeune homme de 21 ans, ouvreur, fait que quand on est ouvreur, ça peut aider pour être créatif, pour trouver des nouvelles solutions, parce qu'on peut saisir peut-être d'avance les pièges ou les défis que nous proposent les ouvreurs. Alors, dans le cas de Blaise, on va voir à quel point il est capable de mettre ça à profit.
Oui, c'est la créativité, puis tu grimpes sur les blocs durs chaque journée quand tu es un ouvreur. Il faut essayer des mouvements différents, des mouvements comme complexes chaque journée. C'est pas juste comme les training days, c'est ton job.
Absolument. Et maintenant, on voit ici l'amplitude dans les épaules de Aspen.
I think her elbow was inside out there. That's not something this is sort of the classic when you have a boulder with this many options. Once you've found something that's holding you on the wall, sometimes you hang with it longer than you should. So an inside-out palm, it's probably not the best way to do that move, but because you get established, you can't think of a way to leave that piece of movement. And sometimes you have to fall off in order to give yourself a bit of a mental shake and say, wait a minute. I could get here, but I couldn't leave. So
Yeah.
getting established in the middle of a boulder, while mentally it feels good, you need to get past that and say, I don't need to get established, I need to get moving. So you need to do the thing that's uncomfortable that you need to do in order to continue progress.
Yeah, and with so many volumes in front of you in that roof for women's boulder number 2, the challenge, Pete, is to be able to see the bigger picture and see the no shadows, the sort of, gray screw-ons that are almost camouflaged.
Very much so, yeah, and they're
And
a bit of a
invisible.
guide, yeah, and they're giving you a hint.
Meanwhile,
Sydney Park
yeah,
getting into where we saw May realizing that some footwork is important here. Left toe just not leaving. 1 minute. The most success. Oh, that's disappointing. Should be not psyched with how long it takes to get up there. I don't think she's going to try that again.
no, she
Well,
is.
She is going to try it again. So
Props for that sporting effort. 37 seconds to go, and she's back on.
that's not a finish that you want to have to rush, but if she gets up there, she's going to have to rush it.
Well, on the bright side, Pete, she knows what to do to get up there, and she's still got 24 seconds to go.
We can see what she can do here. The clock is, 20 seconds is long enough. If she can be, just got a bit greedy maybe. Thought I could
And-
hold the pinch.
Yeah, and needed to make it happen
Yeah.
really quickly. So unfortunately for Sydney, no top yet.
Okay, we are moving. We got boulders on, climbers on boulder number 3 now. So if you've never seen a semifinal streamed before, by the time we get into the middle of the round, there are climbers on 4 women's boulders and 4 men's boulders. So there are 8 climbers going. There's lots to see. We're going to try and bring you as much of the interesting action as we can, but understand that there's a lot going on. This, however, a really good look at women's and men's number 3, very similarly aesthetically and very different in terms of their physicality.
Absolutely. Actually, for the men, it's as close to a slab as you can get here on the comp wall at Block Shop here on Chabanel Street. And basically, Dylan Bokenfour had a good initial foray on these volumes that are very vertically aligned. And we were talking to the root setters here, and one of the great things about the Block Shop Open is the fact that we've got invited root setters. We were talking with Romain earlier, Romain Cabessu, who's an established root setter on the World Cup scene. But there's Fabian and there's also Manu that are two German root setters that have joined upon invitation the root setting team here at the Block Shop Open 2019. And they were explaining to us that this boulder number 3 for the men is really a risky boulder. It's all about staying on the wall and making decisions that are uncomfortable.
Exactly. We get a good look at local climber Francis Bilodeau working his way up the toe hook. I really love this position. If you can get established with that wonderful toe hook on those fins, the first climber to stick the transition move. He is physically a strong climber. Francis knows how to wrestle boulders.
Absolutely, and Francis he's got quite a big climbing career. I mean, in the fact that he's been climbing since a young age here in the Quebec scene for different gyms.
Oh, and you saw him go up left hand undercling. We looked at that. I thought maybe it was a drive-by right hand to the top, sort of like a thumb on top pinch move. Francis chose to go up and high. Gaston, I mean, it's the underside of that hold. I don't think we're going to have an angle that shows it. The underside of that hold is it's a scoop, it's a sloper. Francis is a big, strong climber, unable to stick it, so there's no lip to catch. That is either a drive-by with some squeeze or a really, really intense shoulder press. So, yeah. But excellent work on a flash attempt to be touching the finish hold. So time on the clock for Francis to get in there and get that thing done.
And that's, in my situation, and I'm not a good competition climber, okay, is usually first go is usually the best go. Why? Is because you're often a little bit more intuitive. You're not thinking too much. You've got a strategy in place, but you are ready to try hard and give it your all. And I think that's what we saw from Francis on this boulder number 1. Yeah. And the great thing also is with 1 minute and 20 seconds to go, he still has a very good idea of what it takes, so he can rest. He can limit the number of attempts, and that is really key in this competition.
What you saw just there was Dylan Bokenfour showing you how slippery the footholds are on that slab volume. He was, not even moving. He was sort of looking across, and that right foot just shot right off. And, he's really fighting to get established off of the start. So Francis needs to be careful. 1 minute is definitely long enough to finish this boulder. Don't make any rash decisions. We might see a top. A couple of tops on women's 1 already, but none of the men have made any real progress.
And just off the screen, Charlie Osborne is at the zone on boulder number 2.
Francis, it looks, really insecure feet. Good, but not great.
And that is a very, very strenuous shoulder press to hold that.
You get a good look here at May showing you double underclings. So many options for women's. The big smile, at least. You like to see that. When you are really fighting to get up boulders, you have a couple of choices. One of them is frustration, which is a spiraling pit, which often leads to a lack of success. And one of them is to be happy in the moment and say to yourself, I am climbing World Cup level boulders in my own country, and yeah, I might be getting a bit of a butt kicking, but I'm having a good time. I'm learning, the movement's good, so I like seeing a big smile from somebody. Strong effort. If you tried as hard as you can, you might as well be happy about it.
I think so. I think if you put it out all, you put it all out there, you can be satisfied even if you don't get the results that you would have liked.
100% agree.
So we're welcoming on problem number 1, Abigail Humber and Isaac Leff.
These are starting to get spicy. So Blaze here, strong into the zone and then difficult out of the zone, which I think is going to be a bit of a theme. So this is a good look at this slab boulder. The feet are all the white parts are dual textured, so they're very slippery. And as you see there, the textured parts are also very slippery.
Or, you know, just the angle of those parts might not be as positive as you would like, Pete. So
Slab climbing is an art form in and of itself in the larger umbrella of competition climbing.
So Abigail getting to the zone here, establishing that.
Just trying to hold that press. No easy task either. This is
So Kai here for a second go. And for ladies number 3, boulder number 3, you have a lot of huge dual text dimension hold volumes. So what the root setters were telling us is that it's funny. They're dual text, so one side has absolutely no friction whatsoever, and then the other side is apparently heinously grippy. So they had to sand a bit of those holds to make him a bit smoother, if you can imagine. So basically, it's a tale of two types of friction.
exactly. They said 2 or 3 tries if you're sliding off of those holds, and you might need to be thinking about how much skin you've got left before you get down to boulder number 4. So friction is good until it's not.
Until it's too painful because it's too good. And that's a key component of a weekend of climbing that, you know, a block shop open like this and other competitions, you know, World Cup competitions also provide, is that skin is an important factor in the game.
Yeah, you can't spend too much time in the hot tub. There we go, a really good top from Abigail Humber. Got it sorted second time around.
Second top here after May Nagasako. So those are the only boulders that have gotten topped here, folks.
Blaze really fighting just to get reestablished in the zone into a position that will allow him to move out into the next hold. So it's one thing just to get there. It's another to get comfortable enough that you think you can leave. And then the hardest part about it is actually leaving that hold. So that is a really, really, really powerful move. And you're sapping a lot of energy. You see the gentle, slow barn door that is slab climbing from Kai Watton. It's it looks like climbers give up on slab before you think they should when you're watching from home, but there is a tipping point at which you know you can't recover, and you just have to let it happen.
That's right. "45 seconds to go here."
Isaac moving across. Enough time to finish.
Dr. Sepp getting the crowd behind Isaac.
Meanwhile, getting on the zone. Kaiwa, we got a little bit of sports action going on.
Yeah.
Isaac, 20 seconds. Had a look over his shoulder, I think, at the clock.
There we go. Thanks to the team here.
Oh.
And Kai here, unfortunately, with under 10 seconds to go, won't get another chance, but he got to see firsthand what those dual texture volumes for the top hold look like, and that's what the root setters were telling us, is that if you're too dynamic and you're throwing, that left hand is getting no friction whatsoever.
Yeah, they said you'll see the progression as we get into the middle, a little more depth in the field. Some people get up there. The one thing you don't want to be on a slab boulder is desperate. You don't need to make rash decisions. You don't need to be, overreaching yourself, because that's when you get in trouble, when there's not a lot of extra holds to help you. You don't want to be up tall over your head. Well, it's designed that you need to be in control almost the whole time. And just like that, we have boulders on number 4. So on boulder 4, we're back with May and with Dylan on their last boulder of the round. So time to empty the tank here. And for the men, it is a lot of work in the tank right now. This boulder is a lot of work. We're going to see people, a lot of movement required to get through it. It's a good look at the angle here for sure. You see that you need to be moving very slowly to establish that zone on men's number 3. Dylan getting to the zone on his first try.
A lot of action here, folks. We're trying to bring it to you as fast and as heavy as it's coming in.
And then something not to be understated on women's number 3 is there on the triangles, every side that you can see on the left there, those are all the dual textured sides. So there's not a lot of extra feet to be had. You can't push where you would normally want to push. You're only allowed, a few jibs, I think, on the wall, maybe 2 different spots, and then you're sort of stemming and praying. It makes the footwork very interesting as well on a boulder like that. That's a steep overhanging boulder, and you can't just put your feet wherever you want, and you can't use those volumes on the wrong side.
No, you can't, Pete. And so here we have May. She's this is her second time up to the zone.
Ooh, really good effort. One more foot shuffle. It's going to be helpful there.
So we get a good look here at Dylan Bokenfour on problem number 4. And this is a really powerful match.
You see him, he's getting up there, but there's a really big difference on a boulder of that level of difficulty between touching that hold and being within the amount of body control required to stick it. So he's got half the movement sorted out, but there's definitely a lot more complexity in that move, and I think we're going to see some of that over the course of the round. But Dylan giving you a good look at what it's going to take to get up there. You're going to have to flex your biceps.
Yeah.
A
Meanwhile,
little bit.
on boulder number 3, Charlie Osborne getting back up to the zone. And just slipping out of the outside of the screen here, folks. He had a touch of those hop holds.
Oh, big catch from May.
Yeah.
This looks good.
In a move that we've seen climbers such as Yanya Garnbret and Kiyo Noguchi perfect over the years, that sort of arching left foot out to retain your hips close to the wall.
And this is another boulder that's going to take some clever footwork. There are no holds on that last triangle, so you need to be established if you're going to match it. Good stuff here from May. Really good.
There we go.
So 2 tops. She's going to be happy with 2 tops.
And Charlie Osborne tops number 3 as well.
Just out of screen. Charlie sorted that slab boulder out.
So here's a big move that so far no one has stuck. Francis also having some difficulty on that.
Just generating momentum.
Yeah, keeping those hips low and generating the momentum to get out right is proving costly.
Exactly. Ray Hansen with about 20 seconds is going to throw all his eggs in that basket.
Yeah, Raymond, he came in 5th last year at the Block Shop Open, so that was a really nice surprise from him, and he'll want to repeat that and do even better. So no tops for him on boulder number 1. We'll see what he's able to do next. When you need a top, you can bust out a knee.
Yeah, you get you see climbers come out of a round with scrapes on their faces, elbows, forearms, knees, hips. It is it's a fight. You got to fight to get up boulders at this level, and any means necessary is definitely what is required.
Yeah, some people call it pebble wrestling. So Joshua Gerhardt on men's number 1, and Kat Kartner, a veteran Canadian climber out of Ottawa, on problem number 1 for the ladies.
L'équipe Block Shop s'en occupe à l'instant même. Don't worry, you'll get your time back.
She's trying to go right foot first. That is, look, that is a compressed move. And instead of getting into those splits, so that looks really good up to there.
Up to there. I would say the same thing,
Yeah.
Pete. It looked like her, she was out of range from that stemming action she was getting from her left arm. So
Maybe a level of comfort with that being compressed. Feels really good at the beginning. Left foot up high, doesn't feel right off the bat. We'll see if she, like all first try, second try, third tries in a 5-on site is, do you modify your sequence or do you stick with it? Do you believe in yourself and try harder, or do you think that maybe you've missed something? There are pitfalls in both of those approaches. Let's see what Blaze does here. Really good catch, showing great
footwork.
control. So really up high here is the key.
très bien joué par Blaise, qui nous montre qu'il est un fin technicien et qu'il a pu vraiment utiliser en fait son bon jeu de pied, là, surtout le pied droit sur le volume, pour simplement monter ses hanches, être assez haut pour contrôler la prise de fin, en fait les prises de fin, les volumes de fin, quand même avec une certaine et relative facilité. Là.
Ouais. Il faut sauter juste un peu pour le mouvement final. Il ne faut pas sauter trop violemment. Il faut faire avec un peu de gentillesse. Mais si tu ne pousses pas avec tes pieds, tu ne réussis pas le bloc.
J'aime ça la façon que tu parles, Pete. Être gentil avec le bloc. Il faut être gentil avec le bloc parce que sinon le bloc ne sera pas gentil avec toi.
Exactement.
Puis, I got a question actually, Pete. Did anybody get to the zone on women's number 3?
Not yet.
I did not see that either, and so that is what we'll see perhaps from Nora Chi. Sydney Park, sorry.
Pull and yank with. So it's a guide, and then how good is your footwork? I mean, I think mine is good enough. I don't know that I would have gotten there.
So here we see Aspen Henry. So this is a good look at the beginning of boulder number 4 for the ladies, and actually the starting hold to the right is actually 2 dual textured jibs that are screwed the opposite
wrong way
around. So what was intended there by the root setters is just that level of insecurity that has you engaging your core that much more and relying a lot more on your feet.
That risk element where you can't just grab holds and turn your brain off. Those moves are pretty rare.
And there
Good
we
stuff.
go. Kat Cartner topping boulder number 1 with 20 seconds to go. And so she really quickly tried different approaches, and the last one was the best one.
Exactly. So it's about learning through your 5 minutes. First try, best try, and then sometimes, hopefully, last try, better try.
That's right.
So with about 5 seconds to go, a little bit desperate from Aspen, as you need to be at the end of your round.
Yeah, Aspen did some good climbing, got some zones, and I think there's a lot more yet to come from this young lady who's breaking out on these comp scenes.
Number 4 is on, and right after we go back to the same
See it.
schedule.
We're keep an eye on the live stream. So we're looking at the chat. So if you have burning questions, throw them up there. With all the people watching, with the experience you have of people who tune into comps like this, there's a very good chance that you're going to get somebody who can answer it. And if we see something that hasn't really had an answer, or something about what's going on in the gym, we'll check in and out every now and then. So by all means, get engaged on the chat. talk about what's going on. And as Felix responded, Miho is definitely around, and she is going to come out last as the top female qualifier. So the heavy hitters you're going to see at the end of the round, and be patient. They're on their way. Meanwhile, we have Alex getting up right away. Sort of the gentle tip move. I think that the left foot out is going to be really important there.
And you know, that jib that's screwed onto the green volume that that she was attempting to get is a bit out of her sight. It's a bit, you know, hidden, and that's again something that route setters will play with, just to bring that level of insecurity high up there. You know, these are boulders that these competitors, I think, can actually solve really quickly if they're in a normal gym session. It's just you need to solve it in 5 minutes in these semifinal rounds.
Exactly.
With no prior information. They have not previewed these boulders. They just came straight out of ISO. So you need to have that level of experience.
Really good stuff from Elizabeth. There are no men on the wall at the moment. There has been a technical in some capacity. So somebody is getting, I believe that's going to be Kai Watton, who's getting another swing at men's number 4. So we'll tune back into our regularly scheduled men's sequence on the next transition. So Kai Watton is the only man fighting against boulder number 4. So I'm assuming some kind of technical when he was putting his efforts in a little bit earlier. This is a really good look at this. I mean, you can actually see the reflection there of Alexandra on the right-hand side volume.
And she's looking at her skin, and that's what we were alluding to is, you know, don't forget, folks, these people are not on their first boulders of the day because they've had a 3-hour-long qualifier round. Some of these climbers actually didn't have to climb 3 hours.
Yeah, some of them climbed for about 30 minutes.
Like most of the pro climbers that you will come to see in the next couple of minutes, they put in their scorecard after 45 minutes. Gregor Vezonik, who is going to be the last male competitor out, flashed all 8 boulders and did so in under 40 minutes. So
it's a huge advantage.
Yeah, he's fresher than most. And seems to be fit, so it's good to see Gregor back in shape. He had some injury niggles, and so it'll be interesting to see how powerful this guy can be here in Montreal.
So 1 minute to go. Get a look at Emma Grace on boulder number 2, just getting stretched out.
Oh.
Trying to come around the corner, and just on the left there's Kai.
Such a wild swing out on boulder number 2 for the ladies. Meanwhile, yeah, Kai just trying to power through that big, you know, undercling match on the blue hole just before the zone. And that's what the route setters were telling us, is that it's a bicep pumping bit of action that needs to happen right there to master that hold.
Yeah, you are going to feel it. So we get Francis here on like up and going in less than the 30 seconds on a onside style. 5 minutes is not that long. So 5 minutes is seems like a long time when you're waiting for you know, food to arrive or something to come on that you've been waiting all day for. But 5 minutes in a climbing gym is not very long. You figure most of these climbers take almost a minute to have a look at the sequence, and then it might take you 30, 40 seconds to try the boulder, and then you need to take the same amount to rest. And what that boils down to is on a boulder that you're getting to the middle of, 3 tries. So 5 minutes, if you can get on the wall inside of the first minute, having had a good look and a quick brush, you are ahead of the game. Sometimes you see these guys these ladies stand on the mat for nearly a minute. Alex Fricker out. So a transport from Canmore to Montreal for school. He's been here for a couple years now. Abigail trying to that right heel hook. Very tricky drive-by to hit either the volume and then the crimp, but Francis here getting that lean over to the zone. This is a great angle for this boulder. Very careful, nicely done, Monsieur Bilodeau. Now what is
some confident climbing. On voit que Francis est en forme en ce moment. Lui qui, plus tôt cette année, soignait.
Oh, just hanging on.
Alors, ce que je disais, c'est que Francis soignait une blessure au doigt et on voit que, en fait, tout le travail des derniers mois pour se remettre à niveau a été payant. Lui qui s'est rendu aux zones assez rapidement, à la prise zone sur le bloc numéro 1, a eu quelques essais infructueux pour topper le bloc numéro 1 et maintenant qui a réussi le bloc numéro 3. And Pete, on boulder number 3 for the men, it seems like it's becoming that boulder that you need to top.
Yeah, I think at this point in the field, people topping that boulder is absolutely, if this is the one that everyone's going to do, that's where you cannot make a mistake. And that's where you see interesting shifts in that fight for 6th place or 5th place into the finals, is that on a boulder like that, you can definitely see Sean Kaito, Gregor, they can slip. So if you can flash a boulder like that and get a top, you can establish yourself, you know, back in with the heavy hitters. So that's the type of equalizing boulder that experience means a lot, but if you can get one in there, that's the one you want to do.
Yeah, I'm talking about experience on boulder number 2. For the ladies, we've got Kat Kartner that's really trying hard to find her way through the roof. She's been there for the last 30 seconds and falling off right now. Kat's got a lot of experience in competitions, and so she's still got a minute to go.
You see Ray there touching his left shoulder. He was, for a move like that, you need to be higher. So you can't be swinging around underneath. There's nothing to grab, so it's not like you can just sort of lock your left arm in and swing around and then pull up on it. You got to make that jump, and you got to be taller so that your shoulders are more aligned and not at the end of their range right when you hit that move. So, I mean, Ray came down there holding his shoulder. He needs to be just a little bit more powerful, which means a little higher and a little tighter if you're going to stick a move of that level of burliness. Meanwhile, Sonia Colliander getting inside out. No reason not to try that on a boulder like this.
So Sonia face out, but 10 seconds to go for her.
Yeah, she did a full 360 to get through that move. 5 seconds to go. I don't know that she's going to get. Oh, good fight. Right down to the wire from Sonia Colliander.
Joshua is on. Isaac to the left is on.
Boom, right out the gate. Sam Tukivara. Looking good right away here. going to see all kinds of different technique on this men's slab boulder. A gentle toe hook there from Isaac Leff.
I think that's what's the most appealing thing from a spectator point of view on that kind of boulder, Pete, is the fact that it allows climbers to really be as creative and find their own solutions. And I think that's what's great about route setting these days, is that there are boulders that will really push for an outcome and a specific sequence, whereas others will have really odd, loose, ends and have different paths to the top. So
Exactly. Got a good look at Nora Chi topping boulder number 1 there with minimal effort. So really good stuff from Nora. Meanwhile, Alexandra Pierce trying to stem onto, just a bad angle volume.
ici, on voit Blaise quand même à l'aise dans ce mur quand même très, très surplombant. And we saw him here. He's found it. It seems to have found the trickery that is needed, some toe hooking. As you move out to the left from the zone hold and you latch that side hold with your left hand, you need to get a toe hook into that undercling with your
and
right
he,
foot. So
100%. You saw him mime it out too.
yeah,
He's like, I know what I need to do.
and that's a good route setter for you. He knows what the route setters had intended. He's figured that puzzle out.
Yeah. So Sam there, one of the taller climbers in the finals, tried to go left hand to the finish and got a lot of the same success as Francis on his first try. We'll see what he can pull out next time around, but he looked pretty confident to there.
Yeah, and fun fact about Sam is that a couple of years ago, and this was on Gripped, he actually had a field day in Val David. He had not previously climbed any V11s, and he did 3 in the same day. I wouldn't consider those easy boulders. Val David is not necessarily known to be a soft climbing area, and so in the weekend he had three of those V11 boulder problems done, classics in the area, and so coming from a strong climber based out of Ottawa.
That's impressive stuff.
It is.
And Isaac, you saw his feet just unexpectedly, as they often do on a slab boulder, just give out one try or two earlier. And there.
Simultaneous dropping right there for
Yep.
you folks.
While Alex really trying to get that right foot to stake, and it's just not working for her. Meanwhile, Blaise, if he can put that little toe hook, he waited, got himself a good rest.
So he knows what to do here, folks.
Oh, just missed it.
And that's just, it shows how difficult that coordination move is. You need to power your way out, latch with the left hand, but also, as you're a bit fatigued from some of the earlier climbing on that boulder, need to really be focused to get that toe hook in. So
Yeah, we trying to think about more than 3 things at once is a challenge.
And that's what we're seeing on the World Cup stage, is like coordination, dynamic moves, compression, different things that we would see only once on a specific boulder, but combined together
Exactly.
on one individual boulder. And that's just, the name of the game right now. You need to master a lot of these different techniques and put them together.
And you know what? I know you get people saying, I don't even think it's a debate. I think it's just a conversation that people have. And people, some of us that have been around climbing for longer, have been of late longing for old school style problems where there were things to grab and movement to be had. And there are people who still seem to have this idea that they want competition level bouldering to mimic outdoor climbing. We've come through that. It might come back. It might come back one day where we're just going to have micro crimps pasted on the wall and really bad pinches. But in the era that we are right now, and the style of holds that are being poured, and the style of route setting, and what we're trying to test, as you say, multiple different things, the route setters need to use really good balance here, actually. That's
Great work
great
here.
stuff. You need to test the climbers. And they're all playing in the same field. So it's not as though you're doing something that, you know, is fair or unfair. They all have to climb the same boulders. Really quick top
And
here.
I don't know if this is a flash for
Michaela
Michaela Tracy coming out of the UK. And also the first top for boulder number 1 from Zach Richardson, which I also think is a flash.
Yeah, big, strong climber making big, strong moves. Oh, and Francis, things are happening.
Yes, alors Francis, grimpeur de l'équipe Block Shop qui, en fait, reçoit les encouragements de la foule ici. Bien contente de voir un grimpeur de Montréal réussir sur ce bloc difficile pour, en fait, maintenant mériter deux tops jusqu'à présent. Et je pense que c'est le meilleur score qu'on a vu pour un homme, mais on sait qu'il y a tellement d'autres compétiteurs de très, très grande qualité, Pete, qui s'en viennent. Alors, on espère pour Francis que ce sera assez, mais on a une idée qu'il y a quand même des très, très bons grimpeurs qui s'en viennent.
Yeah, they're coming. They are coming.
And yeah, just so much to be said. You were talking about old school type of boulders, Pete, and actually, I think that this year was what I saw on the bouldering circuit, at least, of the World Cup was a bit more of an attempt to balance out the new school parkour type setting with some old school elements. For instance, the infamous crack boulder
The crack
in
boulder.
Byregan.
And all of a sudden, and everyone complained. So the humor, make it more like outdoor climbing. They made a legitimate straight up crack climb, and then what happened?
What happened is that, you know, Alexandra just looked like he had a field day, that he could run laps up that final boulder, came out and won the comp with that strong effort. And it was funny to see on Instagram, like the Japanese bouldering team, like setting
The
this-
next day.
the next
The
day,
next day.
setting, you know, this, you know, crack boulder to get their skills up to par. So I think it's moving in this direction where route setters have maybe had a field day with their coordination run and jump type of boulders. These are very much always on display right now, but you're maybe balancing that out with pure power boulders. And I think that kind of balance is what we need.
And I think that's what you're seeing in this round. So for the men, you got a powerful boulder with intricate movement. You got a powerful boulder with bad feet. You have a slab, and then you have a powerful boulder. So these are not, you know, parkour style boulders. These are not. There are small pieces of coordination. There's no triple coordination donos here. So, you know, if you really pay attention in a round, you're going to see the balance that you're talking about, which is in the balance in a single boulder and then the balance across the round. And remember, the round is qualifiers, semis, and finals. You don't have to test every piece of movement in every style in each of those pieces. You know, semifinals is going to have some elements. They're going to hold some things back for the final. Maybe we're going to see a triple coordination 360 down on run and jump in the final. Maybe we're going to see some tiny, tiny crimps.
Well, you know, it's really important that you mentioned what we can expect or hope to expect for the finals, because the Block Shop route setting team here and the visiting route setters, they always make sure that it's going to be a show.
Yeah, they
And
never disappoint.
They never disappoint. Last year we had just an amazing set of finals boulders. So you need to tune in tomorrow, folks. Tomorrow evening, be there or be square.
Right, so we've hit the top half of this semifinal round, so we're into our last 10 climbers, 8 climbers. So we're, as you saw from Zach, you saw a little bit of effort. Sort of, Francis maybe didn't qualify as high as he wanted to. That's a climber I would have expected to have seen in the top 10 after a qualifying round. But all you got to do is get into the semi, and he's in the semi with top 2 boulders. So I mean, at minimum, he's going to move up some spots.
Absolutely.
So local strongman, Sébastien Lazure, qui arrive sur la bloc numéro 1. And Leah Wachowski. Lots going on. Josh Gerhardt trying to go Really interesting foot decision. I don't know what if I would have tried to step through to the backside of a bad triangle volume, but man, your brain takes you to weird places when you're just trying to stay on the wall.
That's right. And maybe he's got that footwork. Maybe he's got what it takes to get it done. Meanwhile, on boulder number 2, Sam is at the zone, and we've not seen anyone stick this next move.
Oh,
and
enough
he
to
dropped
reel it in.
Wow.
Good save. And you see him, he's still a full hand length short of getting to the good part, but enough power to try it twice, and that's a good sign for him. Maybe he'll be bolstered by the fact that he was able to save it and try again. Seb Lazur getting across, looking very strong. Also has had some finger issues in the last couple seasons. Don't have an update, but he's looking pretty good here. Nice work, gentle toe hook from Seb. Very subtle. He's always been a powerful, technical, careful, smart climber. And these are the elements that you need. He's climbed in some World Cups. He's used to seeing these kind of boulders. And this is making no mistakes to this point.
Oh,
almost saved it.
He's still got 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go here, so after a really strong effort, he'll, as a veteran of the game, Sébastien will definitely rest up and you know, try to find an answer with what he didn't manage to do up there.
And trying to manage the clock, so you don't want to give yourself enough rest in an onside 5-on, 5-off round. You don't want to put too many eggs in the last basket. You don't want to try it once and then rest until under a minute to go unless you are supremely confident that maybe you just slipped, that you know that the last try is going to be the one. You'll often see climbers leave themselves a bit of a safety window. Sort of their last try also has room for one more try at the end. Great stick from Sam.
And this is new terrain for us, folks.
So a horrendous match coming up here or a horrendous cross. Choose your poison.
It's like he had to drop his left hand down to the volume where you've got a couple of jibs on there so you could have a hand-foot match and get a left heel up. But wow, that's a really, really compression-oriented move that you need to do there, and Sam just will have to try it again.
You saw Nora basically disappeared inside the triangles there. So the route setters were saying that as you look at it, if you're one of the men watching, it looks like it's going to be very compressed, but most of the women climbers being significantly shorter, he said they fit in that movement a lot better. So the boulder, you know, might look hard depending on your perspective. You wouldn't want to be a super tall climber in there, that's for sure.
No, I think that's what the route setters were saying. That's what Fabien, a tall, you know, route setter out of Germany, was telling us, is that he's like, I am not comfortable at all as a tall dude in those volumes under the roof, you know.
Really good stick from Emma there. I mean, that's as confident as anybody has stuck that transition move. And you see that clever little toe hook.
There you go, Emma Grace Lehman.
Great top at the end of the round with about 2 seconds to go.
Buzzer beater from Emma.
Buzzer beater. That's a great way to finish your round. All right, so we're going to have
Seok Jun Kang from the team Super. They've got a B team called Super Week.
Team Super Week,
and
yeah.
I would try out for that. I just don't know what it takes yet.
There's a window in which you need to be good, but not too good. Meanwhile, Raymond looking, by all intents and purposes, very casual.
Yeah, showing us, you know, the type of skill and ability in the overhanging section here that he did last year. And this looks like a flash from Raymond Hansen.
It does indeed. Really, I don't know that he's going to be super happy with the round, but he should be happy with the attempt.
Yeah, and you know, even if you do just get 2 tops, any flash can get you high up. And he squeaked into finals last year, so for now he's in a good position. But as we've mentioned, so much good climbing still yet to come.
Yeah. You see Paige Bucktuschuk here, sort of stuck in that position.
And Paige
making quick work, confidently finishing that. It's nice to come out of ISO and send your first boulder. That sets your nerves at rest. Alex Fricker on the slab, Sonia Colliander trying to decide what to do. So many options. And I think I'm going to be interested as we get into the last handful of climbers into women's 3 at seeing what people do to make these decisions. I mean, we've seen a dozen climbers try a couple of things each on this boulder, and it gets in your head. It gets in your head, you're like, did I fall because I slipped? Did I fall because I'm so far in the wrong sequence that it's undoable? Am I not strong enough? What do I try again? And a boulder like this will dig into your psyche a little bit and make you wonder what you need to do to get up it. And right now, no one has even gotten, you know, into the move out of the exit of the start.
That's right, Pete. And here we see Kat Gardner trying to wrap a toe hook in order to get closer to that top hold.
You have that.
Oh, and getting a heel now.
Hand first or foot first movement. That's really
wow.
fun.
Oh,
well, I don't know if that's enough.
I don't think it is, Pete.
No.
The judges will not give her the top there. She looked really solid just up until that last second there where she slipped out.
And that's the thing with a heel hook on that side. The farther you get to the right, so as you get into position, then you need to be in to match that last hold. Your right foot is getting worse and worse and worse. And she had a bit of a smear with her left toe, but that wasn't enough. Definitely not enough to keep you engaged. So she was fighting in what felt great at the start of the movement. Really smooth here
Wow.
from Michaela Tracy. And that is the first stick.
Yeah, is a really powerful climber out of the UK, and first climber to get here.
I think that left hand slightly better than the right.
Oh, and she's got a minute to go. She's dejected. Not happy at all, Michaela Tracy. She knows she had a really good chance of getting that done.
And that it shows you the last hold on that boulder is good, but not good enough that you can just throw to it without some sense of control. As we see Kat here doing the same thing, but not making a mistake this time. It's a good top at the end of the round. Alex Fricker.
Yeah, great view here of
Sonia trying to go. She's tried this sort of deep inside drop knee to try and maybe just get straight to the zones, but those underclings are taxing.
Yeah, and she's looking at her skin. We told you about those volumes. A couple of climbers are just left with a few inches of skin, not inches, but a few peels of skin that are lacking after trying that boulder, and that'll be it for Sonia Colliander on problem number 3.
You saw Alex Fricker there trying to get across to the zone hold and then shuffle his feet as quick as he could to get established. Not an easy way to try and move through that coordination, that is for sure. Seb Lazur having a look. Here we have Jason Hollowatch out on his boulder number 1 beside Megan Lynch with long enough to brush the last hold.
Yeah, and we're getting into the last third of our competitors on both sides, Pete, and this is not the time to tune out, folks.
No.
We're going to be seeing a lot of tops and a lot of dominant crushing in the next couple of minutes. I mean, I think that's safe to say.
Yeah, and I think, given what we've seen, I think the sort of top 5 or 6 women should all flash 1. We'll see what happens on 2, but we had a little bit of hope from Michaela that it's definitely doable. And then 4 is probably also going to be a must send. And the difference makers are going to be what do you do on 2 and 3. And on the men right now, got to do 3. 1 is proven very difficult, and 2, no one has gotten anywhere near it yet.
That's right. And Seb Lazur getting accustomed to the crux move. I'll call it that because, I mean, it might not be over afterwards, but slapping out right and really establishing yourself on that last big blue volume is seeming to be like the hardest thing to do on boulder number 2.
See Megan Lynch opting for the grab your own foot. Jay Hollowatch
Skipping out gingerly.
But completely different sequence. He's just fell into that first fin, and I think he's just going to work his way up the far right of this boulder.
Yeah, and he's inching closer to the zone hold here. It's always great to see a seasoned competitor such as Jason climbing. He's so experienced and has represented Canada on the world stage so many times.
And a sequence that I don't think you could have predicted.
Toe out first.
Or maybe you should have predicted, but Jake going his own way. And we'll get a look at how he chooses to finish.
There we go, back to Jay. Dr. Step. Oh. And you just saw how Jason was like eyeing up that hold and how relieved he was. You could see the look on his face as he really just carefully executed that coordination sort of stab over to the left.
What you saw, if you've been paying attention to the way that people tried to finish number 1, the guys that just barely stuck it or fell off were turned into the wall, pushing backwards over their shoulder. Jason ends up with that left hand, and his right side is turned under. So
yeah, looking at the crowd.
So a more stable position that might seem like no big deal, but somebody who's climbed in a bunch of World Cups and knows what it takes to not be at end range all the time. You don't want to be fingertip to fingertip. You're not strong. You can't move in and out of those positions. Jay, feet higher, hips higher, shoulders higher, and stuck that with a bent elbow as one of the shorter climbers in the field at that point. So,
well noted.
I love seeing things like that where somebody who's 6 feet tall is at fingertips and someone who's 5'9" has a bent elbow making the same move.
Yeah,
so really good stuff.
I think it's his veteran sort of technique showing up right there, Pete, because you know a shorter climber such as Jason has had to do big shoulder spans, and now here he's actually perhaps protecting his shoulders in using that beta. So
and probably slightly better footwork, right?
Yeah.
So a little bit more confident in the feet. You step up a little higher. You saw him moving through there. So just a really, really gifted climber to watch.
So Leah here trying to get to that black hold. Are we going to see her? Yes, those fingers latch that hold.
And then you see Seb in the corner there, sticking that dynamic shoulder press.
Oh, and Leah just getting really close to that zone hold that so far has only seen Michaela Tracy get established on. And yeah, that's it for these competitors.
10 seconds to go. Sam Tikavara, just like everything you can just to get that zone.
That was a good angle to see how bad that zone hold is on men's 3. It's actually got virtually no edge on it. So
it's a guide, more of a guide.
Yeah.
There's definitely times when watching World Cups and watching comps at this level where you think, if you were to ask me to describe that, I wouldn't call it a hold. To me, a hold is something that you should be able to hold on to, not just have a look at. So super quick up into this boulder.
So on the live feed, Alex was asking how many climbers from outside of Quebec. So good question. I would say there are 3 or 4 male competitors from Quebec and maybe 3 as well on the ladies' side. So basically, the majority of the climbers here are from outside Quebec, and actually outside North America on boulder number 1, Yoshiyuki Ogata. Perhaps one of the headliners here this weekend, who's won a lot of high-profile comps is here, and he's a member of that Japanese bouldering army, so a strong international contingent here at Block Shop Open 2019.
Yeah, taking down the Adidas Rockstars comp is absolutely no small feat. That Adidas Rockstars is an invitational, and it is a World Cup level of competition. So winning that comp is a really big effort. So, and that was just last week. So he's riding the high from climbing in that comp.
And here we see Yoshiyuki. He had a first attempt where he fell, but he's back really high up, getting to the zone on his second attempt. Oh, wow. Going up straight, pinching it.
Why not?
Nonplussed.
Nonplussed, exactly. He wound up, and then you watch that. There's a tipping point in that boulder where the climbers all look, who have stuck it, very, very comfortable. Sonia looking at this crossover move here. I like this because there's options too. We've seen some heel hooks. We've seen some hands first. We've seen some of the women kind of go toe first and then come over after for that right hand on the second last volume. Lots of options.
Oh, had a good look at Zach Richardson eyeing up the final hold, and his feet seem to have skid out from underneath him.
You got Paige trying to get out from here. You got to control the swing. That's great. Good established from Paige. Crafty toe hook.
Paige looking really strong.
Very
so far.
nice. That zone is huge right now.
And that left foot she's got is just really bad. Oh, wow. And she almost stuck it without actually getting any purchase from a right foot tucked underneath the volume. So that's strong effort from Paige.
Really good. Alex Fricker having trouble getting to the little crimp zone.
And both Michaela and Alex having spirited attempts to the left of the wall here. And that's what we like to see, and that's what Dr. Stepp, the house MC, is looking for.
Yep, full efforts from everyone. Toe first. I don't know that I have the flexibility to even put that in the things to consider pile.
Wow.
That's really an interesting way to go about that.
Props to Seok Jun for trying that. I think he will want to attempt it differently next time out.
Now with a minute to go, Zach Richardson, he rushed the attempt before this, having just fallen out of the finish holds. Sometimes you need to calm yourself down, especially on a boulder like this. So he's back in with under a minute, 40 seconds to go. This is a now or never moment on a boulder that is proving to be tricky and necessary. You see on the bottom corner of your screen, Paige getting one more try. I don't know that 30 seconds is enough time. That's a slow climbing boulder as well, but we shall see. Zach just bending out. Oh, look at this from Michaela. Look at this right here. 10 seconds to go. First climber to get anywhere near the zone, let alone the finish. She's disappointed, but she's had the best effort on boulders 2 and 3.
Yeah, and Michaela's in top form right now. She actually established some first female ascents a couple of days ago in Smuggler's Notch in Vermont outdoors. A great bouldering area that features some really nice schist rock, and she did the first free ascent of Blunt, which is a V10, and Truth and Lies, which is a V11. So yeah, Michaela making some really proud ascents here in the Northeast.
So we get Sierra Blair Coyle on your left on women's number 1, and we got Lucas Uchida, who's setting out on boulder number 1. Jay Hollowatch on number 2, along with Megan Lynch.
Sierra looking comfortable here with this split move. Sierra getting us used to some really good slab climbing skills in recent time, and looking comfortable so far on this flash attempt, and yeah, getting it done.
Good time to rest.
And
Jay Hollowatch has got a knee bar in the zone, which might have been set that way, and no one just decided to take it. But he got casual in there.
and he knows what's coming up next. You can see him breathing heavily.
And that, I mean, the
Ali
right foot.
Jason. Interesting sequence. He's put his foot on the volume, not on the jib.
Just to get the knee bar.
Yeah, you can't see it from this angle, folks. But and now he's put the foot back up on the jib. So interesting sequence. That's an effort that will have taken a bit of energy out of Jason, but he's used to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of core effort there to take away some of that hand strength.
And Nora Chi, really high up on boulder number 4 for the ladies.
Meanwhile, yeah, it's a good look at Seb here. Meanwhile, sort of tucked under boulder number 2 is Megan Lynch. Seb, a very good slab climber. Just by nature of the way his slow, careful approach to boulders really comes out in the slab.
Yeah, and as a member of the Block Shop climbing team, he gets to test his mettle on slab day in, day out here as the Block Shop crew have gotten used to setting these more, slabby, technical passages on the boulders here. Amazing hip mobility here and adaptation from Nora Chi on boulder number 4. That is a key skill for climbers to possess and develop.
Oh my goodness, she saves a foot slip. Just almost being a bit too casual with how good that handhold is for her. I think she's going to top here. Yeah.
There we go, Nora Chi.
Some good, clever footwork. Switching the toe to a heel. That's an important top for the round. We'll get a good look at Jay and Megan. Jay back in the heel hook. I don't know, the knee bar. And I wonder if he's going to try and keep it again. Yes, he is.
Wow. Great work.
Can he come out?
And his footwork was great.
Look
1
at the
minute
control.
to go.
Look at the control.
That's just painful to watch because you know how that, a hand slip like that can really just hurt, but it was so close to making that work, and that's a high point for us so far on boulder number 2.
You saw Seb looking great, and then that left foot just
and Seb will need
slipped a quarter of an inch
to top this. He's got 30 seconds to go. Seb will need to top this, and the crowd knows it. Having seen so far climbers like Blaise, we've seen Francis Bilodeau. We've also seen Charlie Osborne top this boulder. So climbers that qualified lower down the field have gotten this boulder done, and that's become the
5
measure.
seconds, 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1. As you see,
Heartbreak.
Yeah, you see him winding up to try and pull on that hold, and really nothing to gain. And off your screen, Jason Hollowatch brushed number 2 like he was going to try again. Looked at his fingertips, looked at the clock, put the brush down, and then went and grabbed his card. You want to try that boulder one more time? The hair on the back of my neck stood up when that hand slipped. Those holds are not very good, but they are sharp enough that you're going to feel that right away.
But good sportsmanship all around. And meanwhile, we've got our champions from 2018 coming out simultaneously in Michael Mawem and Kyra Condi.
It's like it shouldn't have been this way, but because we had the technical, we have a happy accident in which the last year's champions are going to climb together for the round. So that's a bit of a treat, you might say. And it's not like they both came out last either, so
Wow, and Yoshiyuki cruising
Wow.
up boulder number 2, getting to the high point.
And
Oh my God.
cutting his feet. This
And
is
eyeing up the
impressive.
top hold.
This is
Oh my God.
I'm not
Yoshiyuki is in the house.
I'm not sure that you can appreciate the swing that he just controlled.
And Mika's topping boulder number 1 like, hey, I saw you, Yoshiyuki, but here I am also flashing
I'm
boulder
also
number 1.
flashing a boulder. Yeah.
So, wow, this is great, folks. Meanwhile, Michaela Tracy topping boulder number 4. She's psyched.
She is psyched.
It's coming in heavy, folks. A lot of action at Block Shop right now.
Yoshiyuki, that was easy.
Yeah, easy. Easy. I mean, I actually noted how he just floated up boulders at Adidas Rockstars just 1 week ago, and he seems to be retaining that fitness.
Yeah.
And Seok Jun making short work of boulder number 3. So that's what we were telling you about earlier, folks, is that these stronger competitors are coming out needing, far lesser attempts to get the job done. But we still have some climbing left. We got Paige Boklashchuk on women's number 3, and that has yet to be topped, folks.
Yeah, you saw Michaela get very, very, very close to it. Paige is going to go that.
Good work out here.
Showing that, I mean, this is sort of the break in effort here is Paige really in the last season and a half has gotten into a way better place off from the junior, still in the junior circuit, but being able to make movements like this quite difficult, and you maybe less experienced when you look at the top third of this field, but making good movements.
Yeah, Zach Richardson getting number 4, sorry. So he will have topped number 1. Did he get number 3?
He did not. He fell off the last move 3 times.
Oh man, that's a bummer. So 2 tops for Zach. Hopefully that'll be enough for him. Zach Richardson being our 2019 Canadian Boulder National Champion. So meanwhile, Kyra Condi, last year's champ.
Yeah, she's definitely having a lot of work here. It's not proving easy for her to get out of even this position here. So, all the different styles of movement are being tested. You got to be good at everything to get yourself into the finals.
Wow, and just making good use of her upper body strength, pinching the undercling here.
But look at that left leg. She was never comfortable.
Yeah, and she's shaking her head. She knows she took a bit more attempts that she would have liked, but at the end of the day, she's gotten that top.
Yep.
Back that, we'll have to regroup, refresh herself on the next rest, and get ready for number 2.
Paige winding up for the last third of this boulder. Had a look at the crimp and went back to the top of the volume. I think she's going to walk away, 20 seconds to go. About a bonus there. So a bonus on 2, which not a lot of people have had, and a bonus on 3, which not a lot of people have had. That's good work from Paige for sure.
And next up we've got Petra Klinger and Sean McCall out on boulder number 1, folks.
Petra Klinger, who is a burly climber. She's shown us that she knows how to pull down.
I'd say she's super strong.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. And just to her right, someone you might recognize, Sean McCall, coming out for his first look at Boulder 1. And definitely the most experienced climber that Canada has.
Yeah, representing up the block. His Canadian climbing gym, perhaps. He's also sponsored by some gyms out in Europe, so just the most seasoned competitor we've seen in climbing. here in Canada so far, and just so psyched to see him climb here in Montreal once again.
Meanwhile, Petra has been in this position for a full minute. So Sean going press, but I mean, he does occasionally go with his instincts are not what you might expect, and he is often strong enough to overcome decisions that other climbers wouldn't make. But at the same time, you do want to be efficient and get up boulders. So
yeah, and you wonder if he's really privileging, you know, the toe hook beta. We've seen climbers do without, you know, do that sequence without, and he'll find it. But we've seen other climbers like Mika and Yoshiyuki flash this boulder. So it is important for Sean to send boulder number 1.
absolutely. Leah Wachowski getting to the top, and you see Seb in that opening campus move on boulders number 4. So Leah just needs to be careful here.
Opting for the heel here, Leah.
Good
And
stuff.
getting it done.
Seb Lazur also getting it done, and it's shown to be pretty pedestrian from this point. If you're here, you're topping.
You would think so. And Seb waving to the crowd, getting this top on boulder number 4. Good
Yeah.
job, Seb.
Jay Holowach moving across the slab.
So Seb will have gotten, I think, 2 tops, number 1 and number 4. Obviously, we don't have the updated scoring for you here, folks. A lot of action coming in. I don't know if it's enough for Seb to make his way through. And Jason Holowach topping number 3.
Quite comfortably.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that, he shook his head, I think maybe not a, wow, Sean just catching that. So I think Jay maybe have slipped on a first attempt or 2.
yeah.
So a top is important, attempts are gonna be important, but maybe not as much as you think to get in, but we'll see. He
So
might-
like Jason, opting for a toe out beta here, Sean. Interesting. And that span seemed to have been just a bit too much for him to do statically, so. Oh,
just missing the last move. So Sean maybe overthinking it a little bit. Wow,
he's got 1 minute and 15 seconds to go. Meanwhile, Sierra,
staring at those volumes.
yeah,
What do I need to do to get through those volumes?
it's what a lot of people have been thinking whilst challenged with the prospect of climbing boulder number 2
Yep,
for the ladies.
very similar expressions as the women come
Of
around and look at
disgust
that boulder.
and
Yep,
confusion.
confusion and disgust, often the same expression
Yeah, and
when it comes
it's
to boulders.
45 seconds to go, folks. So Sierra Blair Coyle, Sean McCall,
Lucas and Megan all still have work to do.
and I think Sean has decided not to reattempt boulder number 1. This is a veteran call on his behalf.
But maybe risky.
Yeah,
I mean, he's banking on not everybody having done it. So what he's doing in his head is he's thinking, hey, I'm really good, and I didn't do it. So if I look at the people ahead of me and the people behind me, I'm thinking that some of the people behind me didn't do it either. So he's deciding to walk away and save some gas.
But we have the luxury, folks, of knowing what the score is on that boulder.
Yep.
And he would have liked to have it for sure. But deciding to retain his energy is also a key, strategy that competition climbers need to use.
Yeah, and you saw Megan's expression coming off of boulder number 3 with what do I need to do, followed by, hey, I gave it everything I had.
And so earlier on, we had people on the chat saying, is Miho here at Block Shop Open 2019? Well, here she is on boulder number 1, Miho Nanaka. What needs to be said about this competitor? She's shown that she's the total package on the competition scene for World Cups, and it's just a pleasure to have someone of this caliber here in Montreal.
Yeah, you're looking at your 2018 overall World Cup bouldering champion. Paige Bachus-Chuck on number 4, while Miho moves quite gently up boulder number 1. So there is a lot going on. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
Mika's in the zone. Meanwhile, you've got Keito Watanabe in the zone. You've got Yoko Yushi getting to the zone. There's
Yeah,
rock climbing
Yoshi
is getting done right now.
has topped and flashed boulder number 3.
A slip from Paige, a slip from Mika over on the corner. Meanwhile, Miho just never got it wrong as she moved up. Kyra Condi, psyched to be able to get her mitts on something.
Will we see a top here, folks?
Yes, we will.
That is your first top, folks, of boulder number 2. And Kyra, accustomed to having the Montreal crowd behind her, seeing as she won last year, will be happy. 2 tops out of 2 boulders so far for Kyra Condi.
Yep, there's, she moved through the volumes quite quickly and then was never really out of control on the top third of that climb. Mika needs a minute. He came off on the transition move across the volumes with the screw-ons on them. So he'll need a minute to recoup and think about how much squeeze he needs to put down.
Yeah, and
Meanwhile,
Kaito top boulder number 1 as well. So I think that's something that hasn't been lost on Sean McCall, who's sitting and resting before getting onto boulder number 2.
Yeah,
so
you hear the crowd, and you know that that's a flash. Meanwhile, Paige getting across here. She's looking at hand first for the last move. That's going to be very difficult. A lot of the climbers have looked at hand first for women's number 4 there for the last move, and then opted to go toe first, heel first. So if Paige makes that adjustment, I'm sure she'll be fine. We will see what Mika Mawem does differently this time around.
Alors Mika ici qui se rend à la prise, qui a donné beaucoup de difficultés à la majorité des compétiteurs, et on le voit ici, il croise sur ces très petites prises, et malheureusement on dirait que son jeu de pied a glissé juste là, et il devra se remettre rapidement de cette déception-là. Il lui reste 1 minute 45 secondes encore.
C'est comme un pince qui c'est pas vraiment un pince. C'est juste les deux prises, c'est comme des petits crampes, mais c'est un pince. C'est une prise difficile parce que ils sont trop petits, ils sont un peu greasy.
Ils sont graisseuses et en plus, ils ont une double texture.
Ouais.
Alors, ça demande une précision. La minute que ton doigt, ton pouce se trouve juste à l'extérieur de la zone plus texturée, ben, on sait ce que ça fait, Pete, ça fait glisser.
Paige getting that toe-toe movement here. Got to get it right. Got to get it right to finish here. See her hips. Never got her hips over her feet there, so she's hoping to reach the final hold, not climb into it.
Yeah, and also it felt like she didn't get her hips enough to the right, but they were a bit too high up as well. Need to be a bit more in a sitting position to stabilize that situation.
And I think, I mean, a top there is pretty big. With 3 zones and a top already, I mean, a second top for the women is a big deal right now. I think this is big for Paige, and Mika's going to want this one.
Allez, Mika.
So look
Dr.
at that.
Step.
Look how much squeeze is going in here.
Oh.
Where you saw Yoshi floating, Mika is really, really fighting.
Yeah. Oh. Heartbreak for Mika. And, I mean, that comparison is something to, take
note.
in and to know just in and of itself. Like, Yoshiyuki flashed a boulder number 2. A very strong climber in Mika Mawem, who's got his qualification for Tokyo 2020 following his really strong effort in the combined World Championships in Hachioji just a couple of weeks ago. He should be in a similar level of fitness.
Yep.
But we just saw there was a big difference between the two on that specific boulder.
On boulder, and you are always going to see efforts come down to style, and you're going to see efforts come down to style of boulder. You're going to see what fits each climber, so you might be surprised not to see Mika do that. Don't be thinking that he doesn't have what it takes. It's just a boulder that didn't agree with him, and definitely agreed with Yoshi. I mean, he did it better. He might be the easiest attempt we see through the top of this field. But Sean's
Absolutely.
going to give it a good go.
And this is business mode for Sean. He knows he needs to get this, and in very few attempts, if possible. Oh.
And looking quite comfortable to this point. Something he's always good at is getting his mitts on something.
Huge dyno out to the right.
Just overshot it.
Meanwhile, Gregor Vezonik topping boulder number 1.
And Petra Klingler getting up into the last bit of business before the finish here, chalking up. Jay Holowach, Petra holding the swing. Really good stuff.
And Jason also topping. You know, it's great to see Petra on that part of the wall. I don't think, I don't think people have forgotten her performance last year in the finals. She had to really grit her teeth and use the added time of the format of the finals, 4 minutes plus, to top out what was a really amazing boulder last year. So Petra getting all the love from the crowd here at Block Shop.
Exactly. We got Lucas Uchida, who has not met with a lot of success on the first 2 boulders, unfortunately, but persevering here on number 3. And Sierra Blair Coyle to his left, getting busy on these underclings.
Did Lucas top boulder number 1?
He did not, unfortunately.
So he'll need this as other competitors that have showed earlier. It's possible. It's just technical, and it's all about taking risks.
Yep. Megan Fisher. I love the finish to this boulder. This is proving to really make these women think twice. It is not a great hold, and you need to get the footwork right, which is just a really wonderful piece of root setting. It's
Ali.
We talk about complexity. Complexity is not always just in what your hands need to do. You saw the way that she went, walked her feet up, had a toe hook, slid it to an inside, moved the left foot, made a heel out of it. You can be complex in more than just what you have to do with coordination. You can be complex in how right you need to get the footwork.
Yeah, and it's footwork, but it's also adapting where you're putting your hips, bending your knees to get lower down in certain situations. For those of you that like to nerd out on beta and biomechanics, there's obviously Udo Neumann that, you know, puts out videos, and I think he says the most important, you know, skill you can have is adaptability.
Exactly.
And, you know, that's all about the intelligence of knowing where to put your hips.
Yeah.
Allez, Sean, 1 minute.
So Sean took a full 1.5 minute rest. He's basically put it into, I fell off the last hold, so I'm just going to get it right this time with a long rest.
God.
And in classic Sean style, no mistakes.
Oh, yes. And he knows that he's relieved because he doubled down on that.
Yes, he
Very
did.
few competitors have topped number 2, but a lot more have topped number 1. So that's put him back into the into contention for a spot in the finals.
Exactly, and as you say, he doubled down. He went for the long rest and the 1 attempt. Lucas, you see, has come off in basically the same spot every time. So learning the movement, but not fast enough. So that, you know, it's one thing, as you were saying, I think just at the start of the broadcast, this is not, can you climb the boulder in a session over a couple of hours in the gym. You need to solve the movement, learn the movement, and then be strong enough to do the boulder in less than 5 minutes. So a learned movement, some people can take weeks and weeks. So in here, you got to do it in 5 minutes. Of course, we are nowhere here without the sponsors that put this together. So a quick thank you to the North Face, Dimension Volumes, Scarpa, and Red Bull, who are partners of this event. And then Blue Pill and Onside Climbing, Flashed Climbing, and then Viori, who's a clothing line, partnered with the Block Shop for this. And then some friends of the event, Black Diamond, La Sportiva, Tanaya, Friction Labs, and UB. We'll get back to the action with Mika and Kyra in the center of your screen.
Yeah, and in that ad that just passed, you probably saw some outdoor boulders near the Olympic Stadium. So a lot of nice climbing innovation coming out of Montreal. Obviously, dimension volumes are established here. So is Digit Climbing. That is one of the sponsors. And right now, we're just seeing too much action. Oh my God.
You saw to the left of your screen, Mika falling off the finish move.
And Yoshiyuki flashing boulder number 4, just tearing it down. Were those 4 flashes?
4 flashes.
Yoshiyuki is a beast.
Yeah. Really, 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 really found his groove right here, as you saw. Kato also flashing his boulder.
And Miho Nonaka getting to the zone, looking really casual here, but
wants to get it right, looking for the feet maybe. Yeah. Nice finish.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see her opt for the right hand. Beta, you know, for those of you that have been following the circuit, Miho has had struggles with injury, her shoulder, and I think this was her actually preferring to jump up left-handed instead of, you know, putting more stress on that right shoulder.
And then Mika, who wasted almost no time between his first and his second attempt, hopped right back on and then very comfortably topping boulder number 3. Kyra looking a bit stumped, as women's number 3 has consistently done to these competitors.
And it's a really nice atmosphere here. Dr. Step throwing some swag out to the friends and the crowd here in Montreal.
It's a pretty good crowd for a semifinal, actually.
Meanwhile, here we've got Madison Fisher on boulder number 4 with 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes to go.
I really love the first move of this boulder.
Absolutely.
Just that, the slow, gentle tip is really something that's fun to watch.
So is that some chalk she's got taped to her thigh?
I can't decide. I think maybe it is. You get a little bit of a tap in the middle of a boulder. That would be something I've never seen before if it is in fact the case. But a great finish to the round from Madison Fisher. So
yeah, and we're used to seeing her. She had a really strong outing here last year. Really powerful climber, Madison Fisher.
I mean, she was second at Nationals this year, and she's a youth climber still. So that second place finish at Open Boulder Nationals is a really, 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 really good progression in her climbing career.
1 minute, 15 seconds to go, Kyra Condi.
So you see, so Kyra going up to the crimp here, and what we've seen the most success with from the women, the ones who've gotten there, Michaela, Paige, Megan to some extent, is going shuffle along the double underclings, which doesn't feel like the right thing to do, then get a back step behind you, and that makes the move up to that green crimp considerably easier. So Kyra, as a strong overhanging climber, is doing the strong move, and then here we go, she's changing the beta here to the walk along. So the zone now getting established.
Sort of bumping her right hand up. It looks like she just...
I mean, that hold is terrible, Phil.
Oh, wow.
Everybody that's touched it has gone left hand first. Kyra Condi, lots of time. Rushing the footwork, but getting it right.
And that's the second time that she's shaking her head at the crowd. Probably not satisfied with the way she's climbing, but she's getting it done.
Exactly. You can be annoyed that you did it in 3 tries, but you topped the boulder.
Even in the competition world, climbing is such a creative sport. You look at what some of the setters create, and it's beautiful. I mean, it looks like a canvas. They strip the wall, it's this blank canvas, and then they come up with this magic and these patterns and designs, especially with the holds that are being created nowadays, these beautiful colored volumes.
All right, Sean McCall, Sierra and Petra all on the wall. Gregor still having a look. Lucas still brushing holds, so
So, folks,
Petch.
you've got amazing climbers here. Lucas Uchida, Gregor Vizonic, Sean McCall, Petra Klinger, and Sierra Blair Coyle all up on the wall.
Sean fumbling the zone, and Petra just doing what Petra does. So Petra going to be the second woman to top boulder number 3 on a flash, if she can keep it together. My fault.
And Gregor here, foot slipped out on the flash attempt.
So
Meanwhile,
interesting that you. Oh, meanwhile,
Lucas.
exactly. Meanwhile, Lucas swinging around. He'll be happy to grab a finish hold here.
yeah.
So you can see by his face that although he just topped the boulder, he's not particularly happy with the way his round went today. But finish with a top is good. Sean right back into it.
Yeah, he slipped out and he looked surprised as he did so.
He definitely did. So he's trying to do the catch and shuffle. It hasn't really worked for anybody. It's been a little bit slower and more careful for the people that have gotten across there.
Yeah, and the catch and shuffle, I mean, obviously Sean can bear down on practically any hold you can think about. But,
Yep.
that zone hold, we've mentioned it before, Pete, is not good at all.
No. Sierra Blair getting across women's 4 here. Just trying to make that stab move. I think I'm a bit surprised to not see her stick that. And Petra, who touched the last hold on her first try, and then you see her coming off there. That's,
I'm
I'm not
thinking-
surprised to see that. You put a lot of energy expended on that flash attempt. You maybe don't leave enough time because you want to be sure, and then you slip.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, Pete, that volume with the jib hold on, I think it's like sort of a trap. That
It's
the
a
setters,
teaser. Yeah.
Because, maybe not for Petra,
Petra. But for others.
but others have avoided it like it was the past.
Now, this is a really good angle to see the angle of the wall.
Yeah,
And look at the angle of this sort of last crimp here. It's really not very good either. And then she went
Ali.
left hand first time.
Oh my God, that was painful to watch because she was just a couple of centimeters a bit to
Yeah.
the left with her hand.
Interesting, we just saw Gregor fall off the move after the zone. So, man,
Yeah.
we are not going to see a lot of men topping 4 boulders at this point,
No, only
other than Yoshi.
only Yoshi.
And Kaito so far, I think, has
Kaito,
done
yeah.
everything. But Sean, as a seasoned World Cup competitor, slab is one of those things that you're forced to get good at. And I'm just going to come out and say that I'm really surprised he has not topped this boulder.
Yeah,
1
and
minute to go.
Definitely, I agree with you, Pete. I'm thinking he can do it. He's got 50 seconds to go. We'll probably have to opt for a sequence that is a bit more static. Let's see what he can do.
He's rushed it. So Sean back in, Petra staring down the finish. This is going to get spicy, folks.
Yeah, great shot here.
Petra putting that extra squeeze in.
Yes, for Petra.
Oh, and Sean. Petra with the top at the buzzer, and Sean is going to walk away.
So the thing that might be saving Sean is that a lot of competitors have topped all 3 boulders, 2 boulders,
Two
sorry,
boulders.
have topped 2 boulders, especially climbers we've seen earlier.
It's bigger than hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip hop. One thing about music, when it hits, you feel no pain. White folks say it controls your brain. I know Ben that's game, man. We ready for that. 2 soldiers head of the pack. Matter of fact, who got the gat and where my army at? Rather attack and not react. It's bigger than hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip. It's bigger than hip hop, hip hop.
So everybody's still having a look at their boulders. Kara just slipping off the beginnings. That first 30 seconds just spent brushing and thinking. Kaito Watanabe here. This is going to be telling. I think that at this point, 3 boulders, 3 tops is going to be a requirement for finals. And on your left, Miho looking at that burly move, and then you have Mika Mauem, who's, for lack of a better expression, has cruised the boulder to this point.
No need for that toe hook coordination catch.
Yeah, he is a strong man. This is pretty easy stuff for him.
He knows it. And I think just like that, Mika has punched his ticket to finals with 3 tops.
3 tops.
And
you see on your left there, Kyra Kondi, after 1 slip, coming out
4
underneath.
tops for Kyra Kondi.
And yet another version of how to finish boulder number 4.
Absolutely.
Miho, after 1 miss, is about to top boulder number 3.
Ali.
Yeah.
Yes.
Casually holding the swing. Yeah, she went for that little crimp, sort of the sucker hold, as you might say, the first time, and then reeled it in the second time.
Miho Nonaka showing us exactly what we wanted to see, making short work of boulder number 3, who's, you know, that boulder's given everybody a hard time.
Yeah, basically everybody has been turned away from that other than Michaela,
Kyra and
Petra.
that's it.
So tops from the top women, and again, Kaito not even getting to the zone. So obviously what this is also telling you is that some of our local climbers who've topped this boulder are putting a really good show up against some season World Cup competitors. So it's never a done deal who's going to top a boulder, who's going to get into finals, who's not. If you look at a World Cup season, yes, you see a lot of the same names, but every comp, if you look down the list, there are semifinalists who have won World Cups almost every time. So it's not that the same people, this is not Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal. This is not the same 2 guys winning the majority of events that they enter. This is the right day, the right style, how you're feeling, how you slept, how your skin feels. There are so many factors that go into winning a competition across 3 rounds that you cannot just look down the list and say, oh, well, those 6 people, they're all seasoned World Cup competitors. Obviously, they're going to make it in. No, you still have to climb the boulders.
Yeah, that's a good point, Pete. And you said the right time. I mean, I can't emphasize enough how much fitness and maintaining that over time is important. I mean, we're looking at Yoshiyuki. He won in Vail earlier this summer, you know, and won Adidas Rockstars. I mean, to be strong on a drawn-out period of time, to come in and compete so consistently, that's what's really hard. Not having just one single good comp. That's like when you're peaking in your window.
And this is Kaito having the same issues as Sean, although climbing it in a different style. 45 seconds to go, and if you need to rush this boulder, you're in worse shape than when you're at the beginning of the 5 minutes, when you're taking it slowly and carefully as you need to. So he's got 30 seconds to do a move that he's tried, I think, 5 times at this point.
Yeah, and he's opted every time for a dynamic shuffle out to the right.
And he's stepping on the top of that left foot, but this is, it's the momentum that's killing him here. So Kaito and Sean not getting the slab boulder done.
Right, but you know, the difference is Kaito has topped the first 2 boulders, and Sean has only topped number 2. And I say that with the utmost respect that I can have for Sean McCall, because obviously number 2 seems to be the burliest boulder out there.
Exactly. I mean, you would argue that he sent the hardest boulder to this point.
But you know, it's number 1 is it was a surprise not to see him succeed on number 1, and he had time on the clock to try it again.
He did.
And number 3 was a bit, you know, looked a bit too technical.
Yeah. So there you see Gregor Vizonik on boulder number 3. Just getting pasted up into I love the start of this, where it's sort of the, you know, it's like the fly on the wall. They just come up and poof, the double Gaston, while not technically very difficult, it's enough that you have to think about it. Oh my goodness, you see Gregor there just sort of flexed the bicep and stayed in control. So night and day between those two climbers. You see Sean McCall swinging around. No problem flashing boulder 4.
Yeah, that's Sean in his natural habitat,
Yes.
the overhang.
Exactly.
Wow.
Now he's got to wait.
Yeah, I mean, he's made short work of boulders 2 and 4, so this will come down to attempts. And also, on boulder number 1, he took a couple of attempts to get to the zone hold. So we're going to get you the results as quickly as we can once this round ends, folks, so that you can know exactly who will be in the finals tomorrow.
See Petra here. That's the ticket. Everybody that's gotten there just has to get those hips over to the right. So great top from Petra. Really good round. That's a finals ticket for sure for her. So that leaves us with 3 minutes and no rock climbers. So that's what happens near the end of the round. At the beginning of the round, there's lots of action because you got sort of climbers who are a bit out of their league, who are really fighting to top boulders and stay on boulders. And near the end of the round, if 3 people flash, you're looking at 3 minutes. So we're getting down to it. We only have a couple of boulders left. So we got Miho still to come, and Gregor still to come, and Kaito. So a little bit of climbing left. Stick with us. It's not over yet.
After this block competition, there's a great battle right on the other side of the bloodshot.
So tomorrow is our finals. So the live stream is going to start at 6 o'clock Eastern time.
And tune in early. We'll have some interviews. We'll have, some commentary, a feedback, and recap this semifinal round. So by all means, join us.
My apologies, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, yeah.
7 o'clock tomorrow.
7 p.m., have dinner before or during. We're going to be there. We're going to have fun, Pete.
We are. And if you're in Montreal and you haven't signed up and if it's not full, come down and climb some of these boulders in the Citizens Comp. So the Citizens Comp goes tomorrow morning. They leave, I'm pretty sure they're going to put the they're going to leave the semis up. So the semifinal boulders will become part of the scramble round for the Citizens Comp tomorrow. So if you want to take a swing at these and you're in Montreal, get down here tomorrow morning. All right, one more minute. So if you this wide shot gives you a really interesting aesthetic look at the boulders. Route setters, it's not the first thing they're trying to do. They're not right off the hop trying to set something that has to look good on the wall. But once they get going, there is a level of aesthetics. We've been pouring holds for a long time now. Color matters. So we're way past a mishmash of colors on the wall. All the women's boulders are black and green. All the men's boulders are blue and yellow, and we'll see a different combination of those tomorrow. But you look at the way the round finishes out and the style of the boulders and the way they climb beside each other. This perfect example of the boulders number 3 using very, very similar shapes and yet very, very, very different boulder problems. This is something the route setters are proud of. It's something they try to do. They want to set interesting movement. That often comes out aesthetically interesting as well. It doesn't always. I've seen some ugly boulders that climb really, really well. And I've seen some like really, really beautiful boulders that just don't climb as you want them to. But I think in a round like this, things look really good and they climb really well. I think we've had a treat in this semifinal round, and I think everything's been topped, but not everything has been flashed. So we've got good splits right now. I don't think we're going to have a lot of ties. I think the route setter should be very, very happy. And I think you guys at home and people in the gym have been treated to some very cool boulders today.
That's a hallmark of the Block Shop Open. And, you know, as a climber in Montreal who gets to sample the boulders here on a daily basis, I can tell you it's really just something that is part of their, you know, brand and what they put out day in, day out.
Yeah, they're really focused on a top quality event, which is top quality route setting. Miho looking finish here, getting the footwork right. Probably strong enough to just hang out, but is going to make sure. Big smile and a flash to finish the round. Yep,
real casual. Amazing work by Miho Nonaka, who's punched her ticket to the finals tomorrow at 7 p.m. Sunday here at Block Shop.
And one of the younger finalists, for sure, is over the course of a few seasons. Only 22 years old, but has been competing on the World Cup circuit for a few years now. So, you know.
And you know, she's climbing with one of the legends of the sport in Akio Noguchi. You can just think about how much you can learn from someone like Akio, who's so poised, climbs so well, and is so strong and has been so consistent over the years. So you got to think that has been beneficial to Miho's climbing.
Exactly.
And you know, the climber that she is today.
And being able to climb around climbers like, you know, Kato here, also you know, in his early 20s, 22 years old. This is the crew that trains together on the Japanese team. And here he goes. So a slip on his first attempt, but that's of no problem. That's a 3 tops.
Kaito is the super strongest of that crew.
Yep.
And he's just demonstrated it here. And we've got one climber left, and that's Gregor Vrzonik, who, folks, because of the technical earlier on, is climbing alone. But that's fine. He's pretty accustomed to the spotlight, having won a World Cup in 2018 in what is arguably the biggest venue of comps is Munich.
Yep.
So that was an amazing event for Gregor, and I think that's just a sign of things to come because he himself is just 24 years old.
Exactly, and he doesn't know this, but boulder number 4 is basically a lock. So he knows it's been flashed because he's sitting in the chair, and you know, you're in your head, you're doing the math, how much time, how excited the crowd is. So he knows it's probably a lock, but I mean, he looks. We saw him just a second ago in the chair. He looks pretty chilled, getting ready, but he still have to climb the boulder. So we got something to stick around for. Nevin. There is also a Canadian legend in and around the sport. Nevin and Nels Rosasin. Good to see you on the live stream.
And 1 minute to go before we see Gregor have a crack at boulder number 4. So you heard Pete saying he's going to do it. That's his prediction. I don't think you could really say anything else than that. You can't go against that call. So I'm also fully behind Gregor to send boulder number 4. Is it going to be a flash? I'd say yes.
I mean, if I was a betting person, I would say yes as well. He's definitely demonstrated over the round to this point that he's got the skills to do it, and I think his pedigree has also demonstrated that he has the skills to do it. But we're gonna check it out in about 15 seconds. We're gonna watch him do it, and that's gonna close our round out. So I think it's been a really good round. I think it showcased a lot of different movement from these climbers. I think it tested what the route setters wanted it to test. I think they're gonna get a lot of information for the finals tomorrow. So here we go.
Yeah,
Gregor Vrzonik, and
they'll
boulder
have
number 4.
noted the just dominant form of Gregor and Yoshiyuki.
Yeah, and there's sort of almost nothing you can do about it. You're not trying to make them fall. You're trying to set boulders that are interesting to climb. So you'd be wrong if you think the route setter's goal is to make climbers fall. They need attempts, so they need to build attempts out. They need to steal some tries from the climbers, making them think twice about things. But their goal is not to, hey, look, we made everybody fall a bunch of times. It's we set boulders that were hard enough to split the field. So obviously that means people are going to fall. That's a an outcome of route setting, but it's not a goal of route setting. So,
And, you know, we've seen really strong climbers have a hard time on some of these boulders, so by no means were they easy,
no.
even though a couple of them were flashed.
Yeah, the wrong word is easy. Climbers who are strong enough to flash them. So Gregor being pretty secure here. Also doesn't need the toe hook, but will take it to do the match. And with that, Gregor Verzonic is going to stomp his way into the finals at the Block Shop Open.
I was proven right. And there you have it, folks. Gregor is also getting into finals, giving Dr. Stepp a warm embrace. And that's it for your semifinal round here at Block Shop Open 2019. Stick around just a little while. We're going to thank our sponsors towards the end of this round, without whom we could not organize such a really nice comp. So the partners are the North Face, Dimension Volume, Scarpa, Red Bull. We've got Blue Pill holds on the wall. We've got On-Site Climbing, Flashed, Viore, Black Diamond, La Sportiva, Tenaya, Friction Labs, and UB rounding that out. So,
and of course, the Block Shop. So the staff that's here, the owners of Block Shop, and the amount of effort they put into running this comp. All of the volunteers, there were a lot of judges for the scramble round this morning, a lot of officials making this thing run very smoothly. So right now, the Block Shop, you got to thank anybody that is anywhere near this place. If you're in the gym over this weekend, next week, make sure you, if you watched online or if you came in and sat in today or you climbed in the qualifiers today or if you're climbing the Citizens Comp tomorrow. It takes a lot to put on a competition of this magnitude, a lot. You cannot overstate how much effort it takes to put on a comp of this size and how much sacrifice you need to have for the gym. So, thanks somebody. Thank you to the Block Shop. Without them wanting to be ahead of the curve, we wouldn't have comps of this level in Canada. So, it looks like right now they're lining up a bunch of people for something interesting in the room.
I think it's the push-up competition.
There might be a push-up competition about to go down here. So this is how you keep people entertained across a round. That's great. So there's some pretty good prizes to give away, and I'm sure that these guys are doing push-ups for something that Dr. Stepp feels is of value for a lot of push-ups. So that's always funny to see.
A lot is on the line at the Block Shop Open.
Exactly. It's not just $3,000 for winning. It's maybe push-ups for a crash pad. So those are the options. So we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us. I hope you had a good time. Semifinals is a bit of a blur always. So many climbers, so many boulders. I think you saw some really good climbing today. I hope you had fun. 7 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to be back online for the finals, and we are going to have a show. So you know that for the finals, we're only ever watching one boulder at a time, so we're not going to miss any of the action tomorrow. We're focused on boulder 1 across boulder number 4 on the round. Et Phil, ça va être du fun demain.
On va avoir du plaisir comme on l'a eu toutes les années durant la 3e édition du Block Shop Open. Les finales demain, c'est à ne pas manquer, les amis. Si vous pouvez soudoyer un ami qui a déjà un billet et que vous pouvez être ici, faites-le. Sinon, ben, on va être là pour vous, Pete et moi, pour vous raconter un peu ce qu'on voit ici puis l'ambiance qui règne au Block Shop.
Donc, merci beaucoup à tout le monde. On va voir demain.
Excellent.
Bye.
Merci, Pete.